This is Too Long for a Voice Note, a podcast about everything and nothing at the same time, presented by Claire
and Enzo. Our podcast is produced in London. Some conversations are just too long for a voice note.
Hey everyone!
Hi guys!
Welcome back!
Welcome back to
Season 2! We're back for our second season of the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. We are so thrilled to be back filming for you guys.
So happy! It's been so cool because the last few months, we've been just like doing the audio version of the podcast, but now it's like this is going back to like roots,
exactly.
Like the real podcast. We have the videos.
We've had work done. Just
if you see, all the fillers, like
exactly.
On this week that we are finally free,
exactly.
we're like fillers things,
fresh, ready.
Fresh. No, it's so cool that we are finally back on video because we definitely enjoyed to do this part of the podcast as well, not only the audio version. Thanks to everybody who support us.
Exactly.
Only audio as well. I think we found like a new audience as well.
Definitely.
People following
and
us.
Of course we'll still be available on all of those streaming platforms. So Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, we are there.
All
and
of them.
Please do leave us a review.
Please, that's really important. And share it with your friends, with your family, to whoever who may like our content.
Exactly.
As you may realize, we have a new intro, so we're getting like serious now.
We're
serious
business.
So we have a new intro. We want to thank our friend Alex. Alex Production Media Company. He does like a really good job with anything, animation, filming, whatever you need. Like visually, he can help you. So we can like drop the link
we'll
for
put a link to
like the
Alex's
content.
company,
So probably you will love the intro, and after the intro we'll be like, we want to talk with this guy.
Exactly.
So thank you, Alex, for that.
Much, Alex.
It was amazing
We
to collaborate
it.
with you on this.
Yeah.
And also want to say thanks to Leche, which is the guy behind the music, because we have music now as well. So you can tell the intro. I'm going to use bits and pieces around the podcast as well. So it's Leche. You can find his music as well on Spotify. We're going to drop the link.
We'll put a link to Leche's music below.
And you can check his work as well. So thank you as well for you, Alex and Leche.
Alex and Leche.
Alex and Leche. It's very like, for this amazing new intro
It was amazing collaborating with you guys. So thank you
so
very
much
cool. for that.
So it was, after all this like lockdown, it was productive for us because we have like new things coming up as well. We have the intro. And we're working on the podcast in different ways, growing slowly.
Yeah, all of that. Exactly.
So it's
and
very
thank you
cool.
for your feedback and everyone for giving us feedback for season 1. We definitely do listen to your comments and try and implement stuff. So for this season as well, if you have anything that you'd like us to talk about, or anything that you feel that we could work on or whatever, we're going to be introducing new things as we go along this season. So please do stay tuned for that. But
so thank you for everybody following us on Instagram. It's been really cool. We have dropping new content here and there. We have just published our first 2 IGTV videos, so thank you for all the comments, and we are just always posting. It's like a cool extension of our podcast. It's like a different creative side of the podcast, so definitely check our Instagram to get all the news and all the cool stuff we're doing. So well, I think, are we ready, Claire, to like...
I think we're ready. You ready?
I think this feels like, even though we were recording the audio version of the podcast, this feels actually like business again, like podcast, like boom. So it's like, wow, okay, we're not lights, things, production. So are we ready for this?
Completely ready. So I think you wants to go first, me or you?
You go first.
I'll go first. So it's time for Claire's secret topic of the week. Okay, so I'm just gonna take the iPad with those people now.
Like, Mac, please.
You know,
we need like your sponsor.
Exactly.
We have everything now.
Products.
Everything.
The Apple Watch is back, guys, as well. Again, if you see me looking at the watch, I'm not bored of Enzo. I'm just looking at it, using it. Tech, everything Apple, really.
Yeah, we're very like snobby with Mac. Apple is cool. Anyway,
you can't beat
Apple
it.
is nice.
So, getting into my secret topic of the week.
I wonder what we're going to talk about.
Well, it might not come as much of a shock to you, Enzo,
They were spoke a bit before.
We've spoken a bit about it, but I would like to talk about the Netflix documentary called Seaspiracy. Dun dun dun.
Boom, boom, boom. It's very controversial. I like the topic. It's very controversial.
So Enzo and I have kind of spoken around it a little bit.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
No, Enzo hasn't watched it. So I thought that was kind of like a good place to bring it from, because if you haven't watched it, don't worry. You can still get something from this podcast. You
It's
don't
not
need to have watched it.
Probably it's not like a movie that you're gonna get a spoiler.
So, Seaspiracy. So, for those of you that don't know, it is a Netflix original film. So, it's kind of like a follow-on from the documentary called Cowspiracy, which came out a few years ago. So, Cowspiracy looks at all the ways that agricultural farming basically fucks up the environment. Takes it from that point of view. So, this is...
Sea. Clearly.
Seaspiracy.
Like, thank you, Elsa, for making it so obvious.
Exactly.
Like,
And so
the
it's like,
sea.
it's for the
El
sea.
mar. Agua. Océano.
So,
Dropping Spanish words just because. Okay.
So, yeah, it looks at the ways that there's problems with fishing. I mean, there's so many different things in this documentary. The documentary talks about all the different ways that we're kind of messing up the ocean and issues with fishing and everything like that. But he goes off on kind of a lot of different tangents. Now,
sorry, is the guy like a filmmaker or he's like
he was actually a vegan YouTuber.
Oh,
So he's
really?
he's vegan. I didn't realise before watching it that he is a vegan, but this is probably not a spoiler, but this is kind of one of the things that has been quite controversial about the documentary. His basic conclusion is just like, we shouldn't be vegan. You should cut fish. That's kind of the only option that people are given, and I do want to talk about that. But yeah, he was a vegan YouTuber, so I guess he's just a filmmaker. I mean, it's a beautifully made film. Obviously, they have Netflix's backing.
So it has all the
exactly. Money.
Budget.
But yeah, it's a well-made film, etc. So it's following him. He goes around different places in the world.
Yeah, cool.
And just sees how all the damage that we're doing to the ocean, essentially. Now, the documentary, as you know, because Enzo is always on Twitter and it was exploding on Twitter, has been met with a lot of controversy. So what is the controversy around this documentary? A lot of the things that he says are very inaccurate. So he gives a lot of kind of figures and stuff that are just plainly wrong. So off the back of it, I have watched videos with marine biologists and they say that a lot of people are really unhappy with this documentary. I think, number one, the inaccuracies. Number two, for some reason, he really does go after NGOs. This is similar to Cowspiracy, actually.
Yeah.
And he does some really cringeworthy interviews with...
NGOs is always like a thing with that. It's always been like, it's always a controversy around that.
A lot of marine biologists say, like, you shouldn't go after them when these are the people who are trying to make the change and all of that kind of thing. I think also that because the message is go vegan... I feel that that's always going to get people's back up because people, in my opinion, don't like being told what to do.
Like feeling forced that you need to change something in your life.
People really don't like it when you try and tell them to change their diet and everything like that. So I feel that that's part of the criticism that has been met with. I kind of wanted to know your thoughts. I mean, there's also some stuff that I don't like around plastic pollution.
Okay.
I think... What's interesting, though, is why I get the marine biologist side of it. You know, if he's saying things that are just completely inaccurate, I understand. But why do kind of everyday people have such a strong problem? The way that I see it is that it's a documentary. Of course, he's pushing an agenda. He has his own agenda.
Yeah, of course.
It's a film.
His point of view at the end.
Exactly. And I find it really interesting that people overreact like so strongly, and it's just been interesting to kind of watch. So what are your thoughts?
I find it interesting because as everything when it's kind of controversial, I see people around on the internet going very like anger, kind of like really reactive. And I think in these cases when it's about food, and because I think sometimes people see veganism, all of that, as a trend. And sometimes they don't really maybe want to understand what it's about and why people may go into like a vegan diet or what there are like reasons behind. Some people think they're just like, they're just pushing me this. For me, they're just forcing this to me. It's just like a trend. Oh my God, these people again. But it's really weird that people are not open to learn something new or like at least to like, what is this about? Why they're telling me. And even if it may attack you, because I understand people may feel attacked because you know, we know how it is with food. Food is related to like culture, feelings, moments, all of that. And clearly that's the main issue why it's so complicated. And some people feels like vulnerable when they're talking about what they eat. But why not to be a bit more open and understand the other point of view? I think reactions were really like aggressive for a documentary. And at the end, I don't think a documentary should be taken as a Bible. It's just like a reference of something. So you take this content, you take whatever you like from it, or you can learn from it, and you use whatever you want to use. It's like, I found this interesting because I was listening to other podcasts recently that were talking about the documentary, and the woman that was speaking about it, she's vegan. And she said, like, we need to understand, like, a documentary or, like, a piece of information is just a part of it. Like, there's literally books talking about one topic. Books and books. Yeah. And when you want to talk about something, there has many other things around it. So that's why things, as, you know, are difficult to understand because it's not one specific thing. And, like, a documentary, it won't explain, or give everything, you know, it's impossible. So it's just a little piece of the puzzle, and you need to like use this for you if you like it or not, but at least to understand what it is about. So
I think it's interesting how people, like you say, kind of take it as a Bible. And I think I look at it from 2 points of view, because I think that some people who are very anti it are like, no, it's inaccurate, it's wrong, he's saying problematic things, which I'll get into in a second. But I also think on the flip side, this is one big problem that I have with veganism. If you don't know, I am vegan, so I'm coming at it from that point of view. Vegan. But I think that some of the vegan people, I think that some reactions that vegans have had to this is so shocking. So when, you know, marine biologists have been receiving death threats if they speak out against this film. So it works both ways.
Of course.
So people should be allowed to criticise it as well and say, look, Ali is his name, like that is incorrect information. He actually uses a study which is completely outdated, where he says that if we carry on fishing the way that we are fishing now, there'll be no fish left in the ocean by like 2045 or something like that. And she was like, that's completely not true. You know,
I heard some people on Twitter talking about the live biologists saying like there's been different efforts made to make fishing more sustainable. I feel like a lot of people are trying their best. Many people are trying their best to fix their diet, to do little changes, to do this and do that. And if you, for example, if you used to eat meat every single day and now you're pescatarian and you're like, you know, I went pescatarian because I think at least causing less problems and issues to the environment, I think it's my way to do something. And then like a documentary like this comes and it's maybe the delivery of it or like the reaction of it are too strong. Maybe you will feel like, well, okay, whatever, I'm trying to be pescatarian to help and maybe try to be a bit better with the planet, and that's wrong as well. So I think, from example, that people, they may be like, well, okay, whatever I do is wrong, so
I get
fuck you kind of thing. So maybe I feel like that's why some people also feel kind of attacked.
I agree. I think
that's
it's true.
Part of it, I guess.
Yeah, true. I think it is good though in a way to, like, it's complex, and this is a problem. Like, it's sort of like it's trying to cover a lot of different issues in one, and I think that's maybe it just goes on so many different tangents. I think that's why it's kind of a bit overwhelming. The inaccuracies are completely unacceptable. Like that's bad filmmaking.
Especially for like a film on Netflix that it will reach so. Exactly. I mean, the reaching of a Netflix documentary is global, as we can tell. Yeah. So obviously, that kind of things can happen.
Yes.
But not in that level. Like there are many.
It's surprising though, because you would think they would have fact checkers. But anyway, I think if it does, I think that we should take this film from the point that we are at. And probably if you're watching this now, you're in a privileged position. Yeah. So one of the criticisms is that people say you shouldn't tell people to stop fishing because poorer communities rely on fishing. Yeah. But that's not a problem. Yeah. Like, obviously, ethically, I believe that an animal shouldn't be killed so that you eat it. But I also understand that if you are living in a developing country, that is your main source of food, probably, and or livelihood. But that's not our reality. So in richer countries, we can probably afford to eat a very healthy plant-based diet. Yeah. So that's where you should be looking at it from.
Also, it's a different level of like fishing in like a small, poor community or whatever. That's a local thing.
Exactly.
Which the fish or like the whatever we get in the UK probably like big corporation.
Yeah.
Which is maybe don't care about the planet. And that's a different level of it, which is...
That's the thing. And I think that he doesn't really make that distinction enough because... I think the message to say like everyone should be vegan is probably quite unhelpful, to be honest, because it's not going to happen. It will not happen. Like you don't get through to people like that. You just don't. But I do think that it's helpful in a way to say, okay, I have spare money. I can afford to spend a bit more money on food.
Yeah.
Let me think about where I'm buying my fish from. And maybe I want to, if I can afford it, to buy it from an ethical source. Or do I need to have like fish every day? Maybe I can have it once as a treat. And I think this is where it should be taken from. And I wish that people wouldn't take things so, like you said, like a Bible, like
it's
literally.
Bible,
it's like watch it
it's a piece
and then
everything.
do your own research.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. And I think it's really important. And at the end of the day, I think as a society, it is more... as the future, it will be more beneficial if we all made changes. Like, it's very difficult that we all become vegan. I don't think that will ever happen, probably. Oh, who knows? But it's not something that will happen easily, even. But if we send a message that we can all do something and like make a little change, it will do a lot at the end. That's important. For example, like eating meat, like red meat, from 3 times a week to 1 time a week, it reduces the amount of like contamination and like pollution like at levels like crazy levels. When you see the statistics, like a little change on your diet, it creates a lot of difference. So I think the messaging will be good too. That's from my point of view, because obviously I'm not vegan. I'm not eating red meat for like a year now, from last summer, which is it was like I want to eat red meat now. Doesn't mean I won't eat again. Probably I will at one point. But the thing is, like, from my 7 days a week, I think I eat an animal like probably 2 times a week. So I spend like 5 days of my week trying to like avoiding something from an animal, which normally, and also culturally in some countries is difficult, because for example, as I like countries in South America, a lot of our country, they eat meat every single day.
Yeah, super meaty.
So super meaty. And it's the difference of eat meat or any kind of animal 7 times a week to 2, for example. That will make a difference. And that will be, I think, long-term more sustainable. And actually, if you tell people, it's about little changes, this is why, instead of like go vegan, that will make a difference. And I think long term it will be more beneficial for like the future. One
thing I did find actually quite problematic about the film, and then we'll wrap this up, I felt personally that he kind of downplayed the use of the role that like single-use consumer plastic has to play in ocean contamination. And I found it kind of cringeworthy in a way, because he was saying, he was claiming that most of the kind of sea pollution is due to fishing nets, which they know is a problem, ghost fishing nets. But he said that, he was so worried about straws and disposable water bottles and everything. But actually it's like, pardon the pun, like a drop in the ocean. Like, it doesn't actually matter that much. But that is actually not true at all. And I think that, people should be encouraged. We should still really be pushing for that, because we know that like plastic bags, straws, all of that is a really, really big problem. So I think, kind of like you were saying, like, do definitely take this documentary and think about how you are as a consumer, whether that's to do with like plastic, food, your water consumption, meat as well, meat, fish, anything. Think about where you get your products, whatever they are, from.
Especially if if you're in a privileged position. Of course. Like, a lot of people can't do that, and also understandable. But, if you live in a city in Europe and you have like certain privilege and you have the choice to at least take a bit of time to check what else is there and to understand a bit, like, that's the change. That's how we can do to make the little changes at the end of the day. So it's important.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So
I will.
You gonna watch it?
Yeah, I wanna watch it. It's on my watch list for sure.
Okay.
So maybe I'm gonna go back then in 2 weeks. Like, go vegan. Fuck everybody. You never know.
I would love that. It'll be great. It'll be great. So we are going to do a new thing where we talk for a minute about what the other has taken away from the other secret topic of the week.
Boom, boom,
so,
boom.
Enzo has a minute, I'm going to time it, to tell me his, let's say, 3 main takeaways from this topic. And it's going to be a strict 60 seconds, okay?
Oh, that's difficult for us because... Okay, go.
Enzo, what did you learn from the secret topic? Go.
Boom. I need to watch a documentary first. That's what I need to do. And second, I think it's really important to think about like the choices we do with our food. And I know it takes time, and sometimes we live in a really fast type of life and we boom, 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 boom. But I think it would take like 5 to 10 minutes to understand where we eat and where we take this food from. You know, like you go to the supermarket, you see the fish or whatever in a plastic bag, you take it. You never actually check. It's like, you actually never check like the logos, where it comes from, what country, what is behind it, is this healthy, what is doing to, you know, like sometimes taking a bit of time to do it, it won't just Google, will take nothing. Yeah. And third thing, I don't know, I think we need to learn to understand, learn how to listen and understand other things and don't go crazy as this, you know, don't take everything so personally as an attack. Yeah. I think this person at the end, he wanted to do something good, you know, the filmmaker probably he didn't have any bad intentions, so yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Blah, 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 blah.
Well done, love. That was very on it. I think, I would definitely say as well what Enzo said. I think that's so important to listen, and like we're not going to solve any problems in this world if we're just so polarized and we just can't even have a conversation with somebody who has a different point of view. And that's so how the world is right now in politics and everything. And we need to be able to have an open dialogue and not send death threats to people who don't agree with you. Like, come on.
That's so fucking maniac. It's like you have to be fucking crazy to do this, but yeah.
Thank you very much.
I was like, cool. I can't wait to watch it. So yeah.
Yeah, he'll give us feedback. You'll give us a feedback. You know,
like a little
week's episode or something. Sure. Yeah. That's that. Whew, I'm sweating, you know. This light is...
No, I mean, it has a level of pressure to go back to cameras, to a podcast. Where's this voice? Okay, so are you ready for my topic? Enzo's secret topic of the week. Okay, Claire. My topic, it's big. I think if you live in the UK as us, you feel more connected to this topic, but I think for everybody it is and it will be affecting all of us for a long time. I want to talk about a bit of like life, going back to real life again. Okay. As we were in a lockdown for like 4 months now, since December, and now we are back. Still some restrictions, but we're back to like places are open, restaurant things. And I think we discussed a bit about it, and I was reading about this on the internet as well, like the pressure that means to go back to this reality again, when you feel like you may have like plans to do, or you have the feel, we talk about this, like the feeling of like, am I missing something? Do I need to go to a restaurant? Do I need to do this? And I think it's like a lot of pressure when you think about it, and that's what I want to like have a chat with you about this, because it feels like we are kind of well, at least those are my feelings. I feel a bit like divide or like split, I want to say, like about how to feel about it, because it's like, I would like to go out and have a beer, but at the same time I feel pressure to be around a lot of people, and it's actually giving me a bit of anxiety to feel surrounded to too many people. It's like there's a part of me that I think it's not right to do it. It's like, why we have to be so crazy? And we see here in the UK, when they opened the stores on Monday, there were people like doing queues for hours and hours to go to the store. There's like videos of people like running into the store for the JD Sports, like who needs shoes that bad and you need to run for a shoe? It's like, what the fuck? But people like camping to get like a beer at the pub at then 10 a.m. camping. Okay, so I definitely feel there's a lot of pressure out of it. And I read on the internet there was a lot of posts and like people, especially like psychologists and all this type of like accounts, talking about like this is an important moment to a lot of people to take care of themselves, because a lot of people feeling anxiety, a lot of people don't know what to do. Some people feel forced to do things, some people don't know how to go back to real. And I know this feels like, first world problems. It's like, oh my God, you're alive, be content with that and get it over. But it is a thing, and sometimes you don't know how to react, and you don't know what to do, how long to wait. And also you have the pressure. You have the pressure from your friends. You have the pressure from, or some people that they're feeling alone and lonely for a long time. So they want to jump to real life and do things. I was reading on internet, I think it was The Guardian maybe, was talking about brain fog and how the brain fog is something that it's specifically now in this context is happening to a lot of us, which is like a kind of psychological condition, to say in a way, which affects the way you react and you feel. Of course, like if you want to, I'm not explaining this, like you go to the internet and look specifically. I don't want to say anything wrong about this, but basically it's the thing, like we've been like so recluse for such a long time, like without like anything new coming to our life, without anything new things happening, without like human interaction, that a lot of people feel really affected by this. And it's like this, your brain get to the state of like a fog, like
I'm done, or like I'm overloaded,
like
or
the other way around, like flat. So it's it's like a really like and we're saying like how problematic it is, because we are so like, to jump from this to real life, it can be really affect mental health of people, because you get used to like, you get in this situation of lack of energy or lack of motivation, lack of this, and then you need to jump to all of this, and the pressure is on that you need to be like on, bang, meet people, go out, deal with this, deal with that, but still the virus, blah, blah, blah. So that jump, it can be really hurtful for a lot of people. So I was wondering what's like your feeling about it, how you are dealing with that overall. I feel like, for example, I live with my friend Rodrigo. I see you. I have like a group of people that I'm seeing all this time. It's like 3 or 4 people, and that's it. So and it's like a comfortable situation, because we know all of us, we are taking care, and we are not like partying or like licking people's faces around. Like,
speak to yourself.
like. So we kind of feel comfortable to meet each other, because we have like a bubble kind of thing, but it's not the case for everybody. So I wonder how it's like, how you feeling you're going back to your normality or real life, how it's like, if you feel it has affecting you in any way, or like, how do you think?
It is tricky, and I have to say, we've discussed this before, but I was actually kind of nervous about going back to normal, and it's still very much not normal here in the UK. A few things have happened, and that is nice. So I went out for dinner on Thursday with a really close friend of mine. We sat outside. It was bloody freezing. I was complaining to Enzo, but it is very strange, and I don't think that, I think I'm more prone to being anxious anyway. So I remember when the first lockdown lifted, we went out for dinner, and I was really anxious. I was like, it's just weird, like being around people again. And I felt that again when I went for dinner, and then as the dinner went on, I kind of relaxed into it. And I think that's kind of normal. We're so not out of the woods at all with the virus. We haven't had the vaccine yet because of the age group.
Because we're very young.
So young. We're babies.
Like,
out
like
of
mid-20s. So.
Yeah, literally. So it'll be like September until we get the vaccine.
Like next week you're getting like, hey, people around 40s. And you get your text message like, fuck my life, we're getting the vaccine, we're old.
No, but I think there are kind of so, not many positives to this pandemic, but I think some of the positives that I have taken are this thing of, like, I've always really struggled with FOMO. I think it's always been like, I always want to be that person that's doing everything. And like, I do get like, I guess it's changed as I've got older, but kind of envy, but I want to be doing stuff all the time, and I'm a very busy kind of person. And I think that there's a downside to that, and I think that's one thing that I did take from the pandemic is like, first of all, like, it really shows you who is important to you, like who you want to see, like your core group, and I think that's very enlightening.
It is,
and also that it's okay to be a bit slower, and to be honest, like, we've not been that slow in this lockdown. Like, we filmed the podcast all the time, we were recording, but that kind of sense of FOMO, I think, was what I was dreading. And also that thing of, and it really like kind of takes you back, and I think we're probably so different now, but that kind of having to like manage everyone's expectations and
That's
having
really important.
to be really good at setting boundaries,
Yeah.
because and saying no again. Like we haven't
Yeah.
really had to say no. Like I've just been seeing like my best friend and we've been filming the podcast and that's it for months.
Yeah.
Now it's like, oh wow, I have to see you that night, this night, that night. I want to work out, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to make time for myself. And
Like a readjustment.
yeah.
It's difficult because we, as you said, we slow down, so we need to now like kind of like go back to all these things, and it can be overwhelming.
Very.
And what you're saying is very interesting and important, because there's something else I was reading about this is like we need to be careful and mindful and like gentle with other people, because we don't know how others are feeling. Maybe someone else, even if it's a friend, even if the friend hasn't tell us that, may feel like really anxious about it. So one takeaway from this whole thing I was reading on the internet is like, don't push people if they don't want to do something, because this is now we're in this moment that a lot of people, they want to do a lot of things. Let's go out, let's go for a drink, let's go for a bar, blah blah blah. But if somebody tells you, no, I'm okay, I'll pass for now, let's wait a bit, don't push him more. Don't be the person like, oh, don't be boring, let's live the life. Don't be that, because you know what people are going through. And just go back to the brain fog thing. There are people that are experiencing really fucked up things. Thankfully, we're not.
No.
Thankfully, I think we were really pretty fine overall, healthy and mentally as good, I think, as we can be. But there are people having like a really tough time. There are people going to depression, going to things. And that's why we need to be like, understand others and don't try to be that annoying person that it's pushing like, do this, do that, why you don't come with me, why you don't want to do this, like it's gonna be a period that we have never experienced before.
Totally.
And it's gonna be like a process of adapting. As you say, a lot of people, they may set new boundaries for themselves, and you need to understand that, and that's totally fine. Because at the end of the day, maybe all this lockdown pandemic is teaching us to like understand ourselves more and what we want and what we need. So it's a good moment to practice that, respect others, and if you need to say no, if you don't want to, it's okay.
Definitely.
It's like it's interesting. It's like
I really want to like be okay with not doing everything. Like I think that's something that I really want to keep in. Like I do definitely, it was so nice just to go for dinner, just to see somebody else. It's just super, and have that kind of actual human interaction, because of course like we speak to our friends all the time. Like I speak to like Ella, my friend who I met, all the time, but like it's different like seeing somebody's actual face, know. But I think it will take some getting used to. I think we've talked about this as well, like it's really tiring now, like doing, before like you'd be doing like 10 different things in a day. Now we're like, we'll do one thing and then we'll have a nap after.
Literally, sometimes I don't know how we used to do this, like the tube, work, this, that, meet another person, the gym. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, and then at the weekends, let's go party. What the fuck?
I know, because we went for a hike for a friend's birthday on Easter weekend. We so tired.
And it wasn't like, guys, it wasn't like a hike
at all. It was a walk.
It was a walk. And we were like, oh my god, it is a lot. It's like, like the speed.
Crazy.
But I think it's good to also reflect on that and how you want to keep living your life in ways. Like, do I want to speed it up a bit? Do I want to, because maybe I realize now there are some things in my life that I want to do a bit slower.
Like what?
And take more time. For example, like taking more time for myself. Like I don't want to, for example, like working out, I don't want it to make you feel like a task, because I hate it. Because working out is not like, for me, it's not like the most fun thing in the world. It's like something I want to do and I need to do for my health. But before, because you never had time, so I feel like it was always like a task, like after work, I'm tired, I need to go to the gym, and like struggle on the traffic, and change on the, it's like all this process that is very rushed for me was tiring. So I was more tired of the whole process than the workout itself.
Got you.
So now I think I want to slow down more and like try, if it's possible, because I don't know, maybe we need to go back to the office at one point. Hopefully we don't, and I don't want to. So, but hopefully I will have the time to like finish work, have my time to still like cooking for myself, and like also have my time for working out, like it's also relaxing. It makes me feel good. It's not like a task that I need to do because it's like all these things, there's this little, or like cooking as well, like this type of things. I would like to keep those things in my life. And of course, this is a very privileged position because I know a lot of people, they don't have that option because their jobs or their careers, they don't allow them to do it. But if I have the option, it's something I would like to keep for sure.
Definitely.
It's important because I don't want to feel like a little rat in the or like a little mouse in the laboratory, like running. It was it was very tiring, and like I feel much more productive now. Of course, like
same. I think definitely with the pandemic, there's a bit more in our position, like a bit more of a work-life balance. We both have busy jobs, and we're so lucky and grateful that we've been able to keep our jobs through this pandemic, because obviously that people are not in that position. But I have to say, like, I love that extra hour in the morning that would be used for commuting, where now I like journal, for example, and I have like a really nice slow morning, and then I have like breakfast, and then I get to work, and then I log off and like I immediately work out. Whereas before, like you say, like I would have finished the office, like go to the gym, like fight to like change into my workout outfit, like
it's always like
work out,
rushing
go
everything.
home. And I don't miss that at all. And like, so I think it's just pros and cons.
It's interesting because that's what you call, like, it's a very toxic relationship you have with living in a big city, because it's like, oh, this is the London life, or this is the New York life, or the Japan life. Which is basically, it's like a way of living, and like it's really unsustainable and really hurting yourself and really tiring and really stressful. And that's why there's another whole topic, but that's why we are more sensitive to diseases and we get sick easier. We're like blah 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 because we're living this life that are like a constant push.
Exactly.
I think this pandemic, hopefully, of course, it's not as easy because a lot of jobs and like professions, they can just slow down as much. But I think this pandemic will teach all of us, hopefully, in companies and people, to try to find a new way to do things. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, well, I think we'll see. Kind of, I just hope that things are kind of. I like the way that it's kind of one thing after another, like a little bit slower.
Finally, like, seems like at least the government, I think, finally it has like a better plan.
About time.
But I don't know if they will like, because people are running around in the store to get shoes, or like getting fucking smashed on Soho. So like definitely drinking as crazy, but like you do your best at the end. And I think at this point it's also like individual thing. Like you do what you think is best for you and the people surround you, and you go for it, because we can have a government or whoever tell us what to do for that long. So it's more like you're from your position, what you think is good, what you think is right, and try to go for it, because
we're all adults at the end of the day. So
and this pandemic won't finish tomorrow, so we need to find ways to live with it. And like,
definitely, that's true. Yeah.
So I just wanted to talk about this, and hopefully,
like, I just wanted to talk about this,
and hopefully, whatever you're from the world, probably you will relate in different levels.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
Claire. So well, I mean, the conversation was more or less a takeaway of it, but you have 60 seconds. You can reflect on whatever. So I'm gonna time it. So when you I want you to like tell me something about all this we talk about. You think it's important to remember, or to do, or to feel.
Okay.
Whatever. Go crazy. Boom.
Well, my first takeaway is that, I mean, I didn't know that Enzo would want to make more time for working out, so that's good to know. And I think
good to know, because you're looking a bit like you need to.
So I'll be pushing him to work out. So that's one good thing I take away. And I'm just kidding, but yeah, I agree. Like it's interesting to hear like what you want to take away from it as well. Yeah. I also hope that for all of us, like whatever we want to implement into our lives, we can, and we give ourselves more of this kind of work-life balance to do what's important to us and to kind of take care. The third thing that I take away from our conversation is that you're right, like we don't know how people are responding to this pandemic. We only kind of know how like our nearest and dearest are responding. So if somebody doesn't want to meet you for whatever reason, then be gentle with them and just be respectful.
Don't be a bitch, basically.
Be like shh. That kind of thing. So just know that everybody's going through something. Everybody's doing
I think this is kind of fun, this.
Right? It's kind of fun. It's like
right? So that was cool. Yeah, let's see how everything goes. But it was exciting to like come back, talk with you guys. Season 2. Let's see what season 2 bring to the podcast.
But yeah, so we're super happy to be back. Please do, as always, leave us a comment. Tell us what your experience of lockdown has been like. If you are excited to go back to normal.
Remember, please to subscribe to YouTube or YouTube
Please
channel.
do.
I know everybody says this a lot, but it's really important because as much as you subscribe or like the video gets up.
Exactly.
Gets up, not like it just goes
If
up.
it's
And
up, then
it's up,
then it's up,
then
then it's up.
It is
Just
up,
think
it
about
is
it in your
up, then
head.
it stops. Exactly. We want to be like Cardi B, like it goes so to the top that it's not. There's nowhere to go. Like, it's just at the top of the top of the tops.
Leave us a comment about lockdown. Leave us a comment about Seaspiracy. Did you watch it? Did you like it?
Yes.
And
we're really happy to be back.
Exactly.
At it. So yeah,
we'll see you next week. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Take care. See you next week. Bye bye.